Let me tell you something that changed my life forever. Success isn't this big mysterious thing that happens to lucky people. It's not about winning the lottery or catching a big break. Success is what happens when you make the right choice, then make it again tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. It's the accumulation of simple disciplines, practiced every single day. Here's what most people don't understand. Failure isn't a sudden event either. Nobody wakes up one morning and suddenly finds themselves broke, out of shape, and unhappy. It doesn't work that way. Failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every single day. The man who doesn't read, who doesn't learn, who doesn't exercise, who doesn't save a little money, these aren't catastrophic decisions on any given Tuesday. But string together a few hundred Tuesdays and now you've got a catastrophe. The truth is, it's easier to just let the day slip by. It's easier to skip the workout. It's easier to watch television instead of reading that book. It's easier to spend that $20 instead of saving it. And here's the trap. Nothing bad happens when you make the easy choice today. Your bank account doesn't collapse because you spent $20. Your body doesn't fall apart because you missed one workout. Your mind doesn't atrophy because you watch TV instead of learning something new. The damage is subtle, almost invisible. That's what makes the easy choices so dangerous. But the same principle works in reverse, and this is where it gets exciting. When you make the right choice today, when you read for 30 minutes, when you take that walk, when you save that money, nothing spectacular happens immediately. You don't suddenly become wealthy. You don't transform into a different person overnight. The gains are just as subtle as the losses. But here's the magic. Those small gains compound just like the losses do. Do the right thing today, tomorrow, and the next day, and 6 months from now, you'll look around and wonder how you got here. 5 years from now, you won't even recognize your old life. I call this the philosophy of small steps, and it's the foundation of everything worthwhile in life. See, most people want to make radical changes. They want to go from 0 to 100 overnight. January 1st rolls around, and they've got this list of resolutions that would exhaust a superhero. They're going to exercise 2 hours a day, read a book a week, start 3 businesses, and completely reinvent themselves by February. What happens? By Valentine's Day, they're right back where they started, maybe even a little more discouraged than before. The problem isn't desire. The problem isn't even effort, at least not initially. The problem is they're trying to win the lottery instead of building a fortune. They're looking for the big play, the home run, the overnight transformation. But life doesn't work that way. Life responds to steady, consistent pressure applied in the right direction over time. That's the secret nobody wants to hear because it sounds too simple, too slow, too ordinary. Let me give you something to think about. If you improved by just 1% every single day for a year, where would you be? Most people can't even fathom it. They think 1% is nothing. It's too small to matter. But here's the mathematics of it. 1% daily improvement compounds into being 37 times better by year's end. 37 times better. That's not magic. That's just mathematics meeting consistency. Now flip that around. What if you got 1% worse every day? What if you made the easy choice, took the comfortable path, avoided the difficult discipline? By the end of the year, you'd be down to almost nothing. You'd have declined to nearly 0. Same principle, different direction. This is why your daily choices matter so much more than you think they do. You're never standing still. You're either building or declining. You're either adding to your life or subtracting from it. Here's something I learned the hard way. Discipline is just keeping promises to yourself. That's all it is. When you say you're going to do something and then you do it, you're building trust with yourself. When you say you're going to exercise and then you don't, you're breaking a promise. When you commit to saving money and then you spend it, you're lying to yourself. Do that enough times and you stop believing your own commitments. You become someone who can't trust themselves. And if you can't trust yourself, how can you expect to achieve anything significant? The beautiful thing about keeping promises to yourself is that it builds momentum. The first day is hard. The second day is hard. The third day is still hard. But somewhere around day 10 or 15, something shifts. It gets a little easier. Not because the task changed, but because you changed. You prove to yourself that you can do it. You've got evidence now. You're becoming the kind of person who keeps their word even when nobody's watching, even when nobody would know if you quit. This is where most people miss the point entirely. They think discipline is about restriction, about suffering, about denying themselves what they want. That's not discipline. That's torture, and nobody can sustain torture for long. Real discipline is about giving yourself what you truly want by giving up what you want right now. It's about understanding that the temporary comfort you feel from making the easy choice is stealing from your future self. Think about it this way. Every time you make a choice, you're either paying now and enjoying later, or enjoying now and paying later. There's no third option. Life keeps perfect books. The bill always comes due. You can invest in yourself today through discipline and hard work and collect the dividends for decades. Or you can indulge today and pay the price in regret, missed opportunities, and diminished potential. Both paths require payment. The only question is when you want to pay and what currency you want to use. Most people vastly overestimate what they can accomplish in a year. They set these enormous goals, these massive targets, and then they wonder why they keep falling short. They beat themselves up. They start to believe they're not capable, that success isn't for them, that maybe they should just accept mediocrity. But here's what they don't understand. They're not failing because they lack ability. They're failing because they're measuring the wrong time frame. Take those same people and ask them what they can accomplish in 10 years of consistent daily effort. Most people can't even conceptualize it. They've never stayed consistent for 10 months, let alone 10 years. But here's the truth. You can't even comprehend how far consistent daily action can take you over a decade. It's beyond what your mind can calculate. The compound effect of small disciplines practiced every single day for 10 years will take you places that feel impossible from where you're standing right now. The tragedy is that those 10 years are going to pass anyway. Whether you work on yourself or not, whether you practice discipline or not, whether you make the hard choices or the easy ones 10 years from now, it'll be 10 years from now. The only question is who you'll be when you get there. Will you be further along, healthier, wealthier, wiser, more skilled? Or will you be in the same place, maybe even worse off, wondering where the time went and why you didn't start sooner? This is why starting today matters so much. Not because today is magical, but because today is all you've got. Tomorrow is a promise, not a guarantee. Next week is just a concept. Next year is a fantasy. The only moment where you have actual power is right now. And the most powerful thing you can do right now is make one good choice, not 10 choices, not a complete life overhaul, just one choice that moves you in the right direction. That's how empires are built, one brick at a time. That's how fortunes are made, $1 at a time. That's how bodies are transformed, one workout at a time. That's how wisdom is acquired, one lesson at a time. There's no shortcut, no hack, no secret system. There's just the patient, persistent practice of doing the right thing when it's easier to do the wrong thing. That's the game. That's always been the game. Now, let me talk to you about something that matters more than your skills, more than your circumstances, more than your background. I'm talking about your personal philosophy. This is the soil where everything else grows. Your philosophy is how you think, what you believe about yourself and the world, the conclusions you've drawn about how life works. And here's what I discovered. If you change your philosophy, you change your thoughts. Change your thoughts, you change your actions. Change your actions, you change your results. Change your results, you change your life. It all starts with philosophy. Most people walk around with a philosophy they didn't even choose. They inherited it from their parents, picked it up from their friends, absorbed it from television, or adopted it from wherever they happened to be standing when they were young and impressionable. They never stopped to examine it. They never asked themselves, is this way of thinking serving me? Is this belief helping me grow or holding me back? They just accepted it as truth and built their entire life on top of it. Here's the problem with that. If you've got a poor philosophy, it doesn't matter how hard you work. You can have all the effort in the world, but if your thinking is wrong, you'll end up in the wrong place. I learned this lesson early in my life when I was broke and struggling. I thought my problem was that I didn't have enough money. I thought if I just worked harder, put in more hours, tried a little more, things would change. But my mentor pulled me aside one day and said something that shook me. Jim, if you want things to change, you've got to change. Your circumstances won't change until you do. That was hard to hear, but it was exactly what I needed. See, I was blaming the economy, the government, my boss, my lack of opportunities, everything outside of myself. My philosophy was that success was about external factors I couldn't control. That's a devastating philosophy because it makes you a victim. It strips away your power. Once I realized that my results were coming from my thinking, not my circumstances, everything shifted. I stopped looking for someone to blame and started looking for someone to learn from. I stopped making excuses and started making changes. This is why working on yourself matters more than working on your job. Your job will give you a living, but personal development will give you a life. If you become more skilled, more knowledgeable, more disciplined, more valuable as a human being, the marketplace will reward you. If you stay the same, keep the same habits, read the same things, think the same thoughts, why would your life change? To have more, you must become more. That's not just a cute saying. That's economic reality. The formula is simple. Formal education will earn you a living. Self-education will earn you a fortune. School is important, don't get me wrong, but school teaches you how to work for money. Self-education teaches you how to make money work for you. School teaches you facts. Self-education teaches you philosophy. School gives you the tools. Self-education teaches you how to think. And the beautiful thing about self-education is that it's available to everyone. Books cost so little, but can change your life so much. For less than what you'd spend on dinner, you can buy a book written by someone who's spent decades figuring out what works and what doesn't. You can download the wisdom of the greatest minds in history into your mind in a weekend. There's no excuse for ignorance anymore. None. If you're not learning, if you're not reading, if you're not growing, it's because you chose not to. That's a choice, and choices have consequences. Let me tell you what happens when you feed your mind the right things. Your entire world expands. Opportunities you never noticed before suddenly appear. Solutions to problems become obvious. You start seeing connections between ideas. You develop judgment, wisdom, discernment. These aren't things you can buy. You can't inherit them. You have to cultivate them through consistent exposure to great ideas and great thinking. But here's the flip side, and it's just as important. If you feed your mind garbage, you'll produce garbage. If all you consume is negative news, gossip, complaints, and mindless entertainment, that's what your mind will give back to you. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant grows. If you plant corn, you get corn. If you plant weeds, you get weeds. If you don't plant anything, weeds grow anyway because that's nature's default. You have to be intentional about what you allow into your mind. This brings me to one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. Who you spend time with. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. The 5 people you spend the most time with are shaping who you become, whether you realize it or not. If you hang around complainers, you'll become a complainer. If you spend time with people who have big dreams and take action, you'll start dreaming bigger and taking more action. It's not magic, it's influence, and influence is powerful. Some people don't want to hear this because it means they might need to create some distance from people they've known for years. That's uncomfortable. But here's what's more uncomfortable. Living a life you're not proud of because you were too polite to protect your future. You don't have to be mean about it. You don't have to cut people off entirely. But you do have to be honest about whether the people around you are lifting you up or holding you back. The truth is, some people in your life won't support your growth because your growth highlights their stagnation. When you start reading, they'll mock you. When you start exercising, they'll say you're obsessed. When you start saving money, they'll call you cheap. When you start pursuing your dreams, they'll tell you to be realistic. These people aren't necessarily bad. They're just operating from their own philosophy, their own fears, their own limitations. You can love them from a distance, but you can't let them determine your destiny. Now, let me talk about the difference between being interested and being committed, because this is where most people get stuck. Interested people want results, but aren't willing to do what it takes to get them. They say things like, "I'd love to be in better shape," but they won't change their eating habits. They say, "I wish I had more money," but they won't pick up a book on financial education. Interest sounds like commitment, but it's not. Interest is passive. Commitment is active. When you're interested in something, you do it when it's convenient. When you're committed, you accept no excuses, only results. Interested people have reasons why they can't. Committed people find ways to make it happen. Interested people wait for motivation. Committed people create discipline. See, motivation is wonderful when it shows up, but you can't build a life around it. Motivation is like a visitor. It comes and goes. Discipline is like a staff member. It shows up every day, whether you feel like it or not. Your philosophy determines which side of that line you stand on. If your philosophy says, "I'll do it when I feel like it," you'll accomplish very little. If your philosophy says, "I do what needs to be done, whether I feel like it or not," you'll accomplish extraordinary things. It's that simple and that profound. Your internal philosophy creates your external reality. Change the philosophy. Change the reality. This is why protecting your mind is so critical. You wouldn't let just anyone walk into your house and rearrange your furniture, would you? Then why do you let random thoughts, negative people, and worthless information rearrange your thinking? Stand guard at the door of your mind. Be selective about what you let in. Ask yourself constantly, is this thought serving me? Is this person helping me grow? Is this information moving me forward? If the answer is no, reject it. You have that power. Use it. Let me tell you what discipline really is, because most people get this completely wrong. They think discipline is about punishment, restriction, suffering through things you hate. That's not discipline. That's misery, and misery doesn't last. Real discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. It's understanding that every choice has a price, and discipline is simply deciding you'd rather pay the price of progress than the price of regret. Here's something that changed everything for me. Discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. Think about that for a minute. The discipline of getting up early weighs just a few ounces. A little discomfort, a moment of resistance when the alarm goes off, but the regret of wasted years, of potential left on the table, of dreams that died because you kept hitting snooze, that weighs tons. It'll crush you. I've seen it happen to too many people, and I've tasted enough of it myself to know I never want to go back there. The question isn't whether you'll experience discomfort. The question is what kind of discomfort you'll choose. Will you choose the discomfort of discipline or the discomfort of regret? Will you choose the pain of hard work or the pain of disappointment? One way or another, you're going to pay. Smart people pay on the front end. They do the difficult things first. They invest in themselves when it's hard. They practice discipline when nobody's watching. And then they get to enjoy the rewards for the rest of their lives. Foolish people, and I say this with compassion because I was one of them, foolish people choose comfort now. They avoid the hard things. They take the easy path, and then they pay for it later with compound interest. Every easy choice today creates a harder life tomorrow. Every hard choice today creates an easier life tomorrow. That's not philosophy. That's mathematics. That's reality. You can argue with it, but you can't change it. Now let me give you something practical, something you can use starting today. Discipline becomes dramatically easier when you build systems around it. See, most people rely entirely on willpower, and willpower is a finite resource. You've only got so much of it each day. If you're trying to force yourself to do things through sheer willpower alone, you're going to run out of gas. That's why so many people start strong on Monday and fall apart by Thursday. They're burning through their willpower reserves with no system to support them. Successful people understand this. They don't rely on motivation or willpower. They build systems that make the right choices automatic. They set up their environment so that doing the right thing is easier than doing the wrong thing. They create routines, schedules, processes that remove the need to make the same decision over and over again. They decide once, then they execute repeatedly. Let me give you an example. If you want to exercise every morning, don't wake up each day and have a debate with yourself about whether you feel like it. That's exhausting, and half the time you'll lose that debate. Instead, lay out your workout clothes the night before. Set them right next to your bed. Put your shoes where you'll trip over them. Make it so the path of least resistance leads you to the gym, not back to the pillow. That's a system. That's how you make discipline easier. The same principle applies to everything. If you want to read more, don't just hope you'll feel like picking up a book. Put books everywhere. Put one on your nightstand, one in your bathroom, one in your car, one in your bag. Remove the friction. Make it easier to read than not to read. If you want to eat better, don't rely on willpower when you're hungry. Prepare your meals ahead of time. Remove the junk food from your house. Fill your environment with healthy options so that when decision time comes, the good choice is the easy choice. This is what separates people who sustain discipline from people who flame out after a few weeks. The ones who last aren't using more willpower, they're using better systems. They've designed their lives to support their goals instead of fighting against them every single day. They've made discipline the default instead of the exception. But here's what you need to know. Even with the best systems in the world, there will be hard days. There will be mornings when you don't want to get up. There will be evenings when you're tired and the couch looks better than the gym. There will be moments when spending money feels better than saving it. This is where character gets built. This is where you find out what you're really made of. The difference between successful people and everyone else isn't that successful people don't have those moments. They have them all the time. The difference is they do it anyway. They feel the resistance and they push through it. They experience the temptation and they choose the harder right instead of the easier wrong. That's character. That's integrity. That's what builds a life worth being proud of. Let me tell you about the seasons of life, because understanding this will save you from a lot of frustration. Life moves in cycles. There are seasons of planting and seasons of harvest. There are seasons of growth and seasons of rest. There are times when everything flows easily and times when everything feels like pushing a boulder uphill. This is natural. This is how life works. The problem is, most people only want to work hard during the easy seasons. When things get difficult, they quit. They think something's wrong. They think they're on the wrong path. But here's the truth. The difficult seasons are where you prove yourself. Anyone can stay disciplined when results come quickly and everything's going well. But can you stay disciplined through the winter? Can you keep planting seeds even when you don't see immediate growth? Can you maintain your standards when nobody would blame you for lowering them? That's the test. That's what separates the pretenders from the contenders. You've got to measure what matters too. Most people measure activity instead of results. They say, I work so hard, but hard work without results is just exhausting, not productive. Track your progress. Write down your numbers. Whether it's money saved, pounds lost, books read, skills developed, measure it. What gets measured gets improved. When you can see your progress, even small progress, it fuels your discipline. It proves the system works. It gives you evidence that your efforts matter. Here's another truth that took me years to learn. Doing the easy things makes life hard, but doing the hard things makes life easy. That sentence is worth writing down. If you do the easy things, sleep in, skip the workout, spend instead of save, watch TV instead of read, life becomes hard, not immediately, but eventually. Those easy choices compound into a difficult life. But if you do the hard things, get up early, exercise, save money, invest in yourself, life becomes easy. Not immediately, but eventually. Those hard choices compound into an easy life. The tragedy is that most people choose short-term comfort over long-term freedom. They want to feel good right now, even if it means feeling terrible later. They want to avoid discomfort today, even if it means living in discomfort for decades. That's backwards. That's how you end up at 50 or 60 years old, wondering where your life went and why you didn't build something better when you had the chance. But here's the good news. It's never too late to start. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. The same applies to discipline. Maybe you've wasted years making easy choices. Maybe you're further behind than you wanted to be. That's okay. The past is gone. You can't change it. But you can change today. You can make a different choice right now. You can start building different habits, creating better systems, practicing consistent discipline. And 5 years from now, you'll be so grateful you started today instead of waiting another year, another month, another week. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about showing up more days than you skip. It's about getting back on track when you fall off instead of giving up entirely. It's about understanding that one bad day doesn't destroy your progress unless you let it turn into a bad week, a bad month, a bad year. The people who win aren't the ones who never stumble. They're the ones who stumble and get back up over and over again until the stumbling becomes less frequent and the progress becomes undeniable. Let me talk to you about focus, real focus. Because we live in a world that's designed to distract you. Every direction you turn, something's trying to grab your attention. Your phone buzzes, your email dings, your television screams for you to watch. Everyone wants a piece of your time, a slice of your focus, a fragment of your energy. And if you're not careful, you'll give it all away and wake up 10 years from now wondering why you never built anything meaningful. Staying focused isn't about ignoring everything except one thing. That's obsession, and obsession burns you out. Real focus is about knowing what matters most and protecting your time and energy for those things. It's about saying no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. It's about understanding that every yes to something is automatically a no to something else. Your time is finite. Your energy is limited. If you spend it on things that don't matter, you won't have it for things that do. Here's what I learned. You've got to design your life intentionally, or someone else will design it for you. And I promise you their design won't match your dreams. If you don't decide what your days should look like, other people will fill them with their priorities, their emergencies, their demands. You'll spend your whole life living in reaction mode, putting out fires, responding to whatever screams loudest. That's not a life, that's barely existing. Designing your life starts with knowing your reasons. Why do you want what you want? Why does financial success matter to you? Why do you want to be healthy? Why do you care about learning and growing? If your reasons are weak, your actions will be weak. If your reasons are strong, you'll find a way through any obstacle. When the alarm goes off early and you don't feel like getting up, your reasons will get you up. When the work gets hard and you want to quit, your reasons will keep you going. Reasons come first, answers come second. I'll tell you what my mentor taught me. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge. Wish for more wisdom. See, if you got everything you wanted without having to grow into it, you wouldn't be able to keep it anyway. The universe gives you what you're prepared to handle. If you want more from life, become more as a person. That's how it works. That's always been how it works. Financial discipline is one of the clearest examples of this principle. Making money is a skill, but keeping money is wisdom. I've seen people earn millions and end up broke because they never learned the discipline of managing what they had. They thought the money solved their problems, but money just magnifies who you already are. If you're disciplined with a little, you'll be disciplined with a lot. If you're reckless with a little more money, we'll just fund bigger mistakes. Start where you are. If you can only save $5 a week right now, save $5. The amount doesn't matter at first. The habit matters. The discipline matters. You're training yourself, proving to yourself that you can do it. Later, when you're earning more, that habit will already be established. You'll save 50, then 500, then 5,000. But it starts with $5 and the decision that you matter enough to invest in your own future. The same principle applies to your health. You don't need a fancy gym membership or expensive equipment. You need the discipline to move your body every single day. Take a walk. Do some push-ups. Stretch. Something is always better than nothing. And consistency beats intensity every single time. The person who works out moderately 6 days a week will be healthier than the person who kills themselves once a month. Show up. Do something. Make it a non-negotiable part of your day. Your relationships require consistency too. The people who matter most in your life need your time, your attention, your presence. You can't build strong relationships in spurts. You can't ignore someone for weeks and then try to make up for it with one big gesture. Relationships are built in small moments, repeated consistently over time. 5 minutes of genuine connection every day is worth more than 5 hours once a month. Be present. Be consistent. Be there. Here's something most people don't think about until it's too late. The next 5 years are going to pass whether you work on your goals or not. 5 years from now, it'll be 5 years from now. The calendar doesn't care about your plans. Time moves forward with or without your participation. So the question isn't whether the time will pass. The question is what you'll have to show for it when it does. Will you be healthier or sicker? Wealthier or broker? Wiser or stagnant? Closer to your dreams or further away? The answer depends entirely on what you do today and tomorrow and the day after that. This isn't complicated. It's just consistent action in the right direction over time. That's the formula. That's the only formula that's ever worked. Let me leave you with this. Making a living and living well are two different things. Making a living is about earning enough to survive, to pay your bills, to get by. Living well is about designing a life that reflects your values, your dreams, your potential. Most people are so busy making a living that they never get around to living well. They're so focused on surviving that they forget to thrive. You don't have to be like most people. You can choose differently. You can decide that your life matters, that your dreams deserve your effort, that your potential is worth developing. You can commit to consistency even when it's hard. You can practice discipline even when nobody's watching. You can stay focused even when the world tries to distract you. You can build something meaningful one day at a time, one choice at a time, one small discipline at a time. Your legacy isn't what you leave behind when you die. Your legacy is what you build while you're alive. It's the person you become. It's the example you set. It's the impact you have on the people around you. Every day you're either adding to that legacy or subtracting from it. Every choice matters. Every action counts. Every moment is an opportunity to move closer to the person you want to be. So here's my challenge to you. Start today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. Today, make one good choice. Keep one promise to yourself. Take one step in the right direction. Then do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. String together enough good days, and you'll build a good life. That's not a theory, that's a guarantee. The compound effect of consistent daily disciplines will take you anywhere you want to go. The only question is whether you'll start and whether you'll stay consistent long enough to see it through. That's up to you. It's always been up to you.